Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Very excited to see we have a lot of engagement in the chat already. We have folks joining from all over the country. And this is a big topic, figuring out how to serve beyond summer school this year. Let's go to the next slide, please, Taylor. All right, so I just want to say good afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for the No Kid Hungry Center for Best Practices Summer 2025 webinar series. Today, we will be talking about serving beyond a traditional summer school meal service. My name is Robin Hernandez. I am the Senior Program Manager for the Center for Best Practices team at No Kid Hungry. Next slide. We're going to start off with some housekeeping items, followed by a few exciting announcements. Then we're going to hear from our speakers all about the innovative ways they're serving beyond traditional summer school last year and plans for this year. We're going to follow with some Q&A time, resources, sharing, and updates. And finally, we will close the call with a quick 5-minute question survey, as your feedback is very important to us. Next slide. Before we begin, here are a few important housekeeping items. The slide deck will be shared with you after the webinar, along with the recording. I also encourage you to use the chat box throughout the webinar to engage with other attendees. And the webinar will conclude with the Q&A. So please do submit your questions for our panelists in the Q&A box, which you'll find in the middle along the bottom row of your Zoom box. And we'll get to those questions as time permits. We're also committed to making our webinars accessible and inclusive. Closed captioning is available, and you can turn that on at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Next slide. So today, I'm very excited to have an amazing lineup of sponsors who will be sharing their experiences with us today. We are going to be joined by Lucretia Herzog, who's the Director of Child Nutrition, St. Landry Parish School Board, Louisiana. She's going to be sharing her experience as a larger food service operation that served thousands of children in her parish every week last summer. We're also joined by Heidi Ottaway, Food Service Director at Cassadaga Valley Central School in New York, who will be sharing her experience as a very small, very rural school district who went above and beyond summer school last year and did so with only 4 employees for summer, which is we're also going to be joined by Megan Adams, School Nutrition Coordinator of Rowan County Schools in Tennessee. We'll be sharing her experiences as a small to medium school district who implemented creative solutions like serving summer camps, weekend meal packs, and more to serve more kids last summer. All of our speakers today have great tips, and we'll be sharing menu information as well, so make sure you stick around for the whole call. Next slide. Before we get to our speakers, I have a couple exciting announcements from the No Kid Hungry team. We have some helpful resources for sponsors and partners when it comes to outreach for families. Next slide, please. So first is our Summer Meals Outreach Toolkit. We know that planning a summer meals program takes a lot of precious time, so we wanted to do some of the heavy lifting for sponsors and partners by creating ready-to-go templates and language to help you promote your programs. This toolkit is designed to be a one-stop shop and includes ready-to-go social media graphics and written posts, verbiage for announcements, websites, PSAs, robocalls. Also has template letters for families and media outlets. And best of all, there is a suite of colorful flyers you can personalize in Canva with versions for traditional congregate meal sites, grab and go, or even home delivery sites. You just literally pop in the details of your program and you are ready to go. The best part is there are versions for everything in English and Spanish. So be sure to check it out. I'm going to make sure to throw the link in the chat. And next slide, please. Also hot off the presses is our summer resource hub, which is now available. It's now live at nokidhungry.org/help or /ayuda, where families can find food resources in their area. On these pages, they're going to be able to access the USDA Site Finder map to locate summer meal sites. They can also get information on summer EB, aka Sunbucks, for their state. So whether you are a sponsor or partner, please add these web pages to your outreach this summer to ensure kids in your community get access to the meals that they need to grow and thrive. Next slide. So with that, we're going to get ready to go to our speaker spotlights. But before we do, I would like to note that our speakers represent their own experience with non-congregate summer meal programs in their states and localities. Certain program models and implementation methods may be restricted in some states, so check with your local state agency before implementing any new meal service models or implementation methods. Next slide. All right, I'm delighted to go to our very first speaker, Lucretia Herzog, who is the Director of Child Nutrition for St. Landry Parish School Board in Opelousas, Louisiana, and offers over 23 years of experience in child nutrition programs. She fosters an ethos of thriving student health and learning through delicious, quality meals served with 10 scoops of love. In 2015, she started the first summer feeding bus in the state of Louisiana and is now expanding summer meals through self-prep meal boxes for non-congregate feeding in rural communities. She was selected as the 2016 State, Regional, and National Director of the Year and has also served 3 terms as President of the School Nutrition Association of Louisiana. In her free time, she enjoys reading and snuggling with her husband Conrad and their puppy, Bella Grace. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lucretia, and welcome.
Thank you. Next slide. So I'm from St. Landry Parish, and our parish, as you can see on the slide, is located in the south central part of Louisiana. Our parish is 939 square miles with a population of over 81,000. And St. Landry Parish is actually the largest parish in Louisiana by land area. Next slide. The St. Landry Parish School Board, in general, our enrollment is 11,422. We're 100% CEP district. We're considered a rural area, and we participate in the summer food service program. We offer both non-congregate and congregate meals during the summer. We have our students that are enrolled in our on-site summer learning programs, and those students receive breakfast and lunch meals 4 days a week. And when they leave on Thursday, they receive a 3-day non-congregate weekend meal box. So all children 18 and under not in a summer learning program are eligible for our 7-day breakfast and lunch meal boxes. And this includes any child that they could be a toddler, they can be in parochial school, charter school, private school. It's not just our students. We feed all the students, all the children in St. Landry Parish. Next slide. So our non-congregate summer feeding, we offer again 3- and 7-day grab and go breakfast and lunch meal boxes. They're packaged in our warehouse this summer. Previously, as you can see in the picture, we actually did our tray line for the first time in one of our schools and our dining areas last summer. This summer, we will only offer shelf-stable food. Last summer, we did a combination of both frozen and shelf-stable. We have a 3-week cycle menu, and we have 10 weeks of meal distribution with 1 pickup per week per site for parents or guardians that registered their students, their children. Next slide. So operations, our school district, we're actually open Monday through Thursday during the summer. We distribute our meals Monday through Wednesday. In our previous summer last year, we had 2 routes. We had a route A and a route B. This year, we're expanding that. We're going to do 3 routes. Last year, we had start times of 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. and we ended at 11 a.m. This year, we're going to move that up to 6:30, and we hope to end, depending on the day, at 8:39, or at the very latest 10 a.m. So next slide. As you can see, this is a sample of our distribution schedule for this summer. So where you see truck 1, 2, and 3, that is considered route A, B, and C. So we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So for example, on Monday, truck 1 and truck 2 will both be at 2 different schools, and they will feed at the exact same time. Truck 3 will start at the same starting time, but it will end at 7:30 because it's a smaller site, and it will go on to another smaller site. So, and that's how we have them set up. And truck 3 also supplements in some cases where we have a lot of bulk, they'll actually supplement another schools. So we can, because one truck doesn't feed all our kids. So next slide. So this is a little bit of participation data that we had from last summer. For our congregate feeding program, we served 18,688 breakfast meals and 22,603 lunch meals. And this is for our kids in our summer learning programs. And for our non-congregate, our 3-day meal boxes, we had 18,411 breakfast meals served, and the same for lunch. So for our 7-day meal boxes, and that's for our grab and go program for pickup, that was for breakfast, 182,576 breakfast and lunch meals. Next slide. So this is our overall participation data. So for congregate feeding, all meals, both breakfast and lunch, we serve 41,291 meals on site. And non-congregate meals, all meals, breakfast and lunch, 401,974. So total meals served for St. Landry for last summer was 443,265 meals. And this averaged to approximately 3,500 children per week. Next slide. So this is a sample menu for summer feeding for this year. So we do the traditional breakfast. We try to keep things in bags. We want to make sure that we limit the amount of bulk that goes into our boxes. So instead of the bowls, like the Fruit Loop cereal bowl, you'll see the Fruit Loop cereal bag. That's how we try to package, because we want to try to keep the box as small as possible. And that's what we offer for breakfast. For lunch, traditional, shelf stable, the chicken salad pack, the beef sticks, sunflower seeds, that sweet heat trail mix that actually is both a meat and a fruit. That white meat chicken, taco veggie crunch. So we try to do a lot of different things to kind of mix it up every week. Next slide. So this is a sample of our 3-day menu for those weekend boxes we give out to the students that actually have on-site learning. So as you can see, we try to make sure all kids are able to have access to 7 days of breakfast and lunch meals. And our menu actually mimics, we're peanut free and seafood free district, so you will not see peanut items on the menus for the summer either. So we try to stay in alignment with what our district policies are. Next slide. So what is our advertisement strategy? Previously, we would advertise in the newspaper, our district website, district Facebook account, and we do the all call and text to parents. So this year, we're really trying to do a better job of getting the word out to parents in our community on what we're trying to do. So we're going to push those school announcements. We're getting with our principals to make sure they're pushing that announcement like the last 2 weeks of school, every single day, encouraging students to get their parents to register online. So report card mailings, when their report cards go out, they will also have a notification with the link to log in and register their kids online. We're going to do an Instagram reveal to preview our boxes, so parents and students and children can see what's going to be in the boxes that they're going to get. We're also pushing it out to all different denominations of churches so they can put that in their bulletins. Also, the hospital newsletter. The hospital is one of the largest employers besides the school district in St. Landry Parish. So we're going to push that out to make sure that those employees have that information. And we're also doing posters at our high traffic areas like grocery stores, gas stations, banks, the WIC and SNAP office, the DMV, Social Security office, restaurants. Next slide. So what were our challenges? So we've been approved by our state department for bulk milk and juice only. That's the only approval I was able to receive. I really was trying to get approval for canned fruit and vegetables, but that is not allowed here in Louisiana, not for, at least for right now. So that is one of our challenges, because again, we have to do the individual cups for fruit and individual cups for breakfast. So as you can see, multi-day meals, that adds up to a lot of product. So another challenge was our POS issues that we faced. We had tablets with our rosters, but they kept freezing due to the heat. And it didn't matter what time of the morning was, it was hot. So we have to go to our manual backup. In some sites, we had over 1,200 students registered. So that's over 40 pages. So we had to flip through, find the kids and everything. So that increased the pickup wait time for our parents and guardians. And another challenge was the size of our parish, because it takes over an hour to get from one side of the parish to another, at the very least an hour. So that is why we have to make sure our distribution is on point in case we have to send out extra food. Big thing that we've learned, things that we've improved from prior years. One thing is we now will actually have POS software on site. We won't be going off of our sheets. We'll actually have we'll still have backup, but we're trying to go through the software and put everybody in like in real time. We also changed the distribution times due to the heat concerns. We went from a 9-week distribution, meal distribution, to now we're trying to do 10. We're trying to increase it. We're doing an automatic pallet wrapper. I had a lot of student workers, and when they would wrap it, when we would turn a curve, all the boxes went every which way. So we want to ensure the food integrity and quality of the meals that we're pushing out. So we want to make sure that we can wrap everything really tight until we're able to use it. And also we're adding an evening shift to make sure that we can get boxes out, because I don't want my people to work the entire summer. Only people that probably will work the entire summer are the people that are on the distribution team. But our production team, we want to try to get those meals done and have them ready to go. And we also, improvements, we added a third route, and that was to actually decrease distribution time so we can spread everything out so everybody can be in before that sun really came out in the morning. I hope that the information that I provided today is helpful for you. And so I look forward to any of your questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucretia. That was amazing. I was floored looking at your numbers that it just goes to show you had 10 times the number of meals served for those non-congregate kids, the ones that were not participating in summer school. So it just kind of goes to show that summer school students, it's only capturing just a small amount of the kids that are out there, and that the need is really, really quite great. So, I mean, just absolutely amazing that you were able to get the food out to all of those kids in your community. So hats off to you. Let's go to the next slide, please, Taylor. Okay, so as a reminder, if you have any questions for Lucretia or any of our speakers, please utilize the Q&A box down in the middle of the bottom middle of your screen, and we'll get to answering those as soon as possible. Next up, we have Heidi Ottaway, who's worked in food service for over 40 years. Prior to becoming a school food service director, she worked as a buyer at a full-line distributor and in the brokerage industry. She lives in Sherman, New York with her husband, Dean. They have 3 adult married children and 6 grandchildren, with another due this summer. She loves to hike, bike, and train her dog. Welcome, Heidi, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi. So I work at Cassaway Valley Central School District as the food service director. Cassaway Valley is in Chautauqua County, which is in the very the boot actually of New York State, very in the toe area of the boot of New York State. Next slide. Cassaway Valley is a rural school district. We have 167 square miles in our district, and the high school is located on a highway, so we don't even have any sidewalks or children that walk to school. Our elementary school is just down the road a little bit near the village of Sinclairville, and we do have a few students that walk, but mostly everyone is bused into our school district. We have been community eligible since 2018. Our current enrollment pre-K through 12 is 812 students. We operate both a bulk, non-congregate, and the congregate meals over the summer. We have been doing this for about 4 years, I believe. In 2024, we served 23,280 meals. Next slide, please. So we were able to do this with 4 employees, as Robin said, actually about 3.5. We had one student worker who only came in the morning, helped pack things and took care of a lot of the cardboard for us. We did the bulk non-congregate program basically the day after school ended in June. We go late in June in New York, and we ran it every week until school started back up. The beginning of the day after Labor Day is when we started school again. We did stop during the congregate program. Our summer school runs Monday through Thursday for 3 weeks in July, and we did not operate our non-congregate bulk program during those weeks. New for next year, we're going to try to do both at the same time. We averaged about 330 children each week, and we used Google Docs. We had an Excel spreadsheet that we used and had parents sign up ahead of time. They gave us their name, phone number, parent or guardian, and we added people to the bottom if they came and weren't pre-registered before our program started. As you can see in the picture, we used heavy paper bags and packed those bags and then put the bags in some totes and put the lid on the tote, and then we wheeled it back into our cooler. So we did not put the milk or the bread items in there. We just packed the groceries in the bags and then kept them back in the cooler. As you'll see when an upcoming menu that we had some refrigerated items that we wanted to keep cold. So we did not do any food prep. Next slide. That's how we were able to do this with 3 employees, 3.5 employees all summer. This is a sample menu. So we had some breakfast items, some juice boxes. For instance, on here we have sliced turkey, we have sub rolls. So there's 6 sub rolls to a bag. We gave them the whole package instead of 5 is what we were required. In New York, we were doing bulk for 5 days worth of meals. If we unitized it and made the sandwich for them, we could do 7 days worth of food distribution. But we chose to do 5 and gave them everything in bulk. Their milk, their meat, their bread items all came in bulk. Next slide, please. So this is another sample of one of our menus, and I put the food cost in there. As you can see, we had $24.26 that were going into the bag, or with the milk included separately, and our reimbursement would have been $43.61. So with only operating 1 day a week with 3.5 employees, we were able to financially make this happen for us. It is colder in Western New York than it is a lot of places in the country. I realize that. So by using the heavyweight paper bag and putting it in the tote, it was not a refrigerated tote, but we placed it in there right after it was packed and then ran them back in the cooler on dollies, and it seemed to work for us well. We did roll our milk cooler out at the point of distribution, so we could reach into that milk cooler and take the milk out as people were coming. And then we would put the food on a cart, and they would either carry it or they would roll the cart out to their car. Everyone drove to us. The furthest part in families in our district drive about 20 minutes to come to our school. And so we had distribution from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. 1 day a week. And so it was a really long day for our employees, but they chose to do it this way. They would rather work 1 day in the summer and get all the food distributed in 1 day. The next slide, please. This is another example of one of our menus. So for instance, we gave them a whole loaf of bread. They were instructed to make peanut butter toast or whatever they wanted to do with it for breakfast with some fresh fruit and juice and milk. And then at lunchtime, we gave them sliced cheese with the other half of the loaf of bread, some mini cucumbers and fruit cups. So everything was just handed out in bulk, and then they were instructed to make their own sandwiches and things like that. Next slide. So some takeaways that we have learned from our program is to keep it very simple. Like I said, we did not come in the day before and do any prep. We started in the morning and we put the whole item in the bag. We did send estimates to our vendors. That was helpful. So we could give them an estimate after we looked at our Google spreadsheet and told them how much meat we would need or how many loaves of bread we would need. So they weren't caught off guard on our numbers as they are coming in. We did advertise on Facebook and we sent out a text every morning. That was helpful. It was new last year. We sent everyone a personal text, and we're actually going to add email this year. So the families don't forget to come and pick up, so they know that they're on our list and that we expect them to come and pick up the food that Wednesday. Because it was a long day, some of the staff incentives that we did, we bought them lunch. So we had a lot of people come and pick up right at 11 o'clock, and then it would slow down in the middle of the day, 2 or 3 o'clock, and then it would pick back up when people came in after work between 4 and 6 o'clock. So we were able to give the employees lunch. We also bought them raincoats, and that was kind of incentive for the employees that worked in the summer because they got some swag that people during the school year did not get. This is a picture of the American Dairy Association. They came one of the days to our food distribution, and they had a wheel where they could spin and win a prize. We do have more people lined up to come this year, including the library is going to come and do a reading program and have a booth at our distribution. We also gave away reusable bags, so the paper bag could go into a reusable bag with handles, and then they were instructed to bring that back each week. We also have some ideas for next year as far as putting recipe ideas in the bag, like on the back of our menu. If we give away bananas or strawberries, we were going to put some recipe ideas in there so children could do some fun things with the fruits and vegetables that we have offered. And that's our entire program. This year, we're going to try to do congregate and non-congregate, and we're also adding another site at a school district nearby that does not do any programming, and we're going to actually run it out of our school, but we're going to service kids in that area.
Thank you so much, Heidi. That's amazing what you were able to do with, like you said, with 3.5 employees. I think it's inspiring for a lot of the sponsors out there who represent small school districts and small organizations. A lot of times we hear that they just aren't sure how they can expand and possibly do more when they maybe have a really small staff or fewer resources. Very inspiring. Also think it was amazing that you showed the reimbursement versus the food costs. It shows that it really can be a financially sustainable program. So thank you so much. Next slide, please. And also just a quick reminder, if you have any questions for Heidi or any of our panelists, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A box at the bottom, and we will get to them as time permits. So next up, I'm excited to have us joined by Megan Adams, who is the School Nutrition Coordinator for Roane County Schools, currently in her 6th year. As a dietitian, she has a passion for nutrition and the impact it has early on children. She started with big dreams and goals for the program, quickly interrupted by COVID, but opened up an opportunity to expand the small summer nutrition program that currently existed when she started her role as nutrition director. Now the summer biggest it's ever been and continues to flourish in her community. So welcome, Megan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Robin. As she said, I'm Megan Adams. I'm from Roane County, Tennessee. You can go to the next slide, please. So there's a map of Roane County. We are a small town or county right outside Knoxville in East Tennessee. There are 5 cities within our county. And as you can see, most people would consider Roane County a more rural area. But you can see we still have some gaps within our county. To the right bottom there is the rural map. So we do have pockets that are not considered rural that we deal with, but we try to set up a non-congregate feeding site within each city in our county to give everyone access. And we have about 6,200 students enrolled, and we are 100% CEP. Next slide, please. Okay, so we do both non-congregate and congregate meals, and I'll start with non-congregate meals. We do that once a day on Wednesdays, and we have pickup. As I said, we have 6 sites, so 1 in each community where they can come pick up meals. And last year we did 11 to 12. This year we're looking at extending our hours to give people more opportunity to have time to make it to get the meals. We start as soon as school ends. So for us, we end school on the 21st in May. So we get out pretty early. So we will start the week of Memorial Day. So that Wednesday, they'll come in on Tuesday, get everything prepped and ready, and work Wednesday and hand out our first non-congregate meals on Wednesday. And that our non-congregate meals, I'll talk about what those look like in the next slide, but one way is to get the word out, how we've advertised in the past. This is one of our flyers we sent out. We coordinate with a lot of other school partners, a lot of community partners. We create flyers and advertisements to get to them so they can get the word out, especially to the ones we know need these meals the most. Something we started last year that other people have mentioned is we did the text and district call outs, and that seemed to be have the biggest impact for us. Our numbers doubled last year. So that really helped get the word out to everybody. We do use social media, and I get some feedback sometimes that people don't have Facebook. So I think the calls and texts were really great to reach those that don't have Facebook. It's on our school website. We use our local newspapers, and we also hold community meetings. I do a meeting every spring with community partners that are interested in learning information or participating to try to get some more community involvement and just get the word out there. Next slide. So this is a sample of one of our menus for a week. So we do 7 days, and it's breakfast and lunch, and it covers the weekly requirements. And a fellow director had this menu layout, and I really liked it because it helps make sure we're meeting the requirements. You can see to the left what you would need every week, what you need to meet. So I took that and priced it out, and you can see how much that would cost per kid per week. So, and we do about 3,000 kids a week, and that makes it easy for my staff as well to pack the bags so they know exactly what's going in the bags. They know they're meeting the requirements. And then most of our items are cold or frozen or shelf stable. So we don't have any hot items this year for our non-congregate meals, and they're all bulk. Next slide, please. And here are just some pictures of what that looks like. So you can see a lot of our sites come out of our schools, but we have 2 areas where there's not a school that qualifies as a rural site. So we do have to bus to a site or to an area or site that's deemed rural. So one of our sites is a sports complex in one of our communities, which is only a few miles from our school. So we do have to bus it out. We have vehicles that we transport food in, or we use buses. And you can see there they've set up tables. We have reusable freezer bags that we actually got through a grant with No Kid Hungry, and we have our school logo on them. So we encourage families, we pack meals in that and encourage families to bring that back every week so we can reuse those. And it's just something nice too, and a nice advertisement for our program. And our staff get very resourceful. You know, it's hard when you have that much food in a week to find freezer space, refrigerator space. So they really get resourceful with how they keep everything at temp. We use all the coolers, all the milk coolers, all the ice cream coolers, anything we can find to hold temperature and keep that food quality. They're using it. So they've been really great. Last year, we actually used color-coded bags. So we had different colored bags for your shelf-stable items, different colored bags for your freezer items, and different color bags for your refrigerator items. Sorry, those comments are popping up. We did not, I don't know if we're supposed to save questions for the end, sorry. We did not take them back. We had them hold them, and we just put the food inside for them. So we did not take bags back and sanitize them. We just told them to keep them in their car, and we would put the items in their bags. And then we also sent out instructions. So any food safety instructions as far as how to keep the foods at the correct temperatures, whether or not they need to be refrigerated, frozen, when they needed to be cooked by, how they needed to be cooked. So we sent that information home with them as well. So they had that, that information and that education to be able to do that properly. Next slide, please. Okay, and we also, so our congregate meals, we do the summer schools, and we send home a 3-day pack with them. And that's kind of what that looks like down there. It's like a modified version of our 7-day week. So we keep that in line with what we're doing for that 7 day. So it's easy on our staff, and we have the things on hand. So we just scale it down. We do vacation Bible schools. We also service some other camps within the community. We have a local college that does a STEM camp. and we have serviced them breakfast and lunch the past 3 years now. A local farm camp that gets meals for their students, and there's a picture of them on the slide of them with their meals. We do our band camps. We have not done Mother's Day out yet. We have been asked about potentially doing Mother's Day out, and it is something we are considering. The biggest thing with doing congregate meals and the non-congregate meals, obviously, is integrity. So we want to ensure that people are not getting the 7-day bulk packs if they're in these camps and in these summer school. But with our district, we are a fairly smaller county. So a lot of our camps are anywhere from, like the farm camp, for example, is about 30 kids. So we have a roster for all of our camps. It's a little bit easier to keep that integrity since it is on a smaller scale. So for us, it works, but I can't see how that'd be difficult for larger communities. But if it works for us and has been really great for our community. Next slide, please. I'm done.
All right. Thank you so much, Megan. That was awesome. You gave some really great tips. Oh, I see my internet's unstable, so somebody give me a flag if you can't hear me. But you gave some great tips just now. Loved hearing about the color-coded bags. That's a great way for distributing your shelf-stable versus your refrigerated versus your frozen meals. And then also the tips about how you gave out your food safety instructions and the camps. That's amazing. So thank you to all of our speakers. So at this time, I invite you all to enter your questions that I know you might have for our panelists of speakers in the Q&A box. We've already have several, and we can go to our speakers now live to answer them. So I'm just going to repeat some of the questions that have already been answered. So first of all, one of the first questions we received was, how do you define a meal? And is there a standard definition we should be using? And to answer that question, all summer meals are provided through either the summer food service program or the seamless summer option that school districts can often use. And the meal patterns have to, all meals must meet strict meal pattern requirements as set by the USDA and provide components such as milk, grains, beans, fruits, and vegetables. And you can visit the USDA websites for more detailed information on these requirements. Next, there was a question about pre-registration forms. And Lucretia answered that, indicating the registration was digital and online. Some options you can consider are SurveyMonkey or Google Sheets. But I know there's some programs that don't use pre-registration. So it just depends on what's best for your operation. Let's see, another question was, any useful strategy or know-hows in order to provide or include more fresh produce and or food with high nutritional values, which are more expensive? I'm going to actually open it up to our speakers at this point. I know, Lucretia, you answered that in the chat, but if there's anything you wanted to add to that, or any other speakers who want to talk about how they were able to include high quality foods or fresh produce in your distributions.
I'm gonna expound on that, Robin, because last year we did do like a lot of cooked foods. We utilized a lot of our USDA products. We had chicken stew, Salisbury steak, you name it, we did it. But I had to cook out of 3 separate kitchens to keep up with the volume. And then when we had to substitute something, because all that product had to be labeled, and we weren't set up with a machine with labeling, like all that labeling I did ahead of time. I had all that printed. And then let's say we ran out of chicken and we had to use turkey instead, we had to take each individual label and change that chicken to turkey. So it was just too much. It just became to be too much for when we had to substitute. So that's why I was telling her, and we did a lot of we wanted to do a lot of vegetables, the meals where you have the entree plus the vegetable. So that's the hope. The hope is to not have all processed food, to where we can have some cooked meals. That's our ultimate goal. But we need a central kitchen or something bigger to where we can produce all of this food and maintain the integrity of the food and actually stay in line with the guidelines of the health department as well.
Thank you for that, Lucretia. Anyone else want to speak to their produce?
We tried to offer fresh produce as often as possible. So, but because we were doing bulk and not unitized, we had to offer vegetables and fruits that a child could just take a few of and eat it each day instead of you needing a knife. So we couldn't give out any melons or even cucumbers. We gave out the mini cucumbers and instructed them to eat one a day instead of a whole cucumber, which was a lot more expensive, but they weren't able to slice their own cucumber. So we gave out mini carrots, cherry tomatoes, mini cucumbers. We actually gave out a head of lettuce and instructed them to take some lettuce off and put it in their turkey sandwich. And then, of course, the fruits, we try to do fresh fruits as often as possible, but it was basically apples, oranges, and bananas.
Thank you. See, there's a similar question here, or related. It says, opportunity to connect to the small scale farmers that are looking for markets to sell their local fruits and vegetables. So wondering if any of you had experience with working with local farmers or doing farm to summer within these programs.
In our area, the local produce really isn't available until school starts, late August, early September. So we did a lot with our local farmer when school started back up in September, but we did not use them for our summer program. He didn't have the packaging like for the cherry tomatoes. We bought a lot of them for school in September, but he didn't have them all packaged the way we needed them to be packaged for the summer kids.
There's also a note here. It says, great job. I'm a small school and glad you were able to share today. So there's a note to Heidi. So thank you for that. Also, a very important question. I answered in the chat box already. The 304 text messages, someone wanted to know if they would still be working or just the USDA interactive map to locate sites. So to answer that question, No Kid Hungry is 304 texting line, and our old meal finder map is sunsetting for this year. So if you have previous communications that you were using or flyers that indicated that 304 texting language, please remove that. That is no longer going to be in service this year. And instead, we are now directing all families to nokidhungry.org/help or /IUTA, as that will connect them directly to the USDA Summer Meals Finder map, as well as summer EBT information. Just a flag as well, when you do go to that map, you may not see sites populated yet, and you can let your families know to check back regularly. USDA can only add that site information as they receive it from state agencies, and state agencies right now are still actively receiving applications from sponsors who are setting up their meal sites. So just to encourage them to please continue to go back and check regularly, especially in late May, early June. They should be able to see sites beginning to populate. And I'm looking to see if there's any other questions. I did want to also ask Megan, you had mentioned with your camps, I was wondering if you could just expound a little bit more on how you manage the camps to feeding the summer camps to make it sustainable for your staff and your operation. Like who served the meals for the camps and how did that work?
Sorry, let me turn my camera back. I was going to turn my camera back on. So depending on when the camp is, so for example, the STEM camp runs during the day. So we were able to, I have 2 staff members that that make the meals, prepare the meals, and then they actually take them to the site and serve them on site. So that is really my only site where we actually go to the site outside of summer school where we prepare the meals and then go serve them on site. Otherwise, with Bible schools, we work with them and they come and pick up meals. So we'll prepare them and we really encourage them to come pick them up. Sometimes we will take them to them, but we usually have, like I mentioned with the community meeting, we do trainings with them to make sure they're trained on what the kids are supposed to be getting and that they're properly able to distribute those meals. But we typically ask that they come get them, and that helps our staff out so we don't have to do that. But sometimes we will accommodate if no one can come pick up and I have the staff able to do it. So it just kind of depends on the situation. I do have a form that they have to fill out that we send out to everyone. So they let us know what they need. I have a menu option so they can pick what menu option they want. Almost everything is cold items, but they can request hot items. Like I said, depending on staff and when it falls, we try to accommodate what we can and be flexible to give them what they want. But we ask they let us know at least 2 weeks in advance so we can make sure we get everything on our food order we need. So we do really just try to work with them, and we're fortunate to be able to do that. I have a lot of staff that prior to increasing the summer feeding program or expanding it, they had other jobs in the summer. So they really are wanting to work and able to work. And it's not a ton of hours, especially since we're moving more to bulk style non-congregate, which is more time consuming. And most of our Bible schools and camps are smaller. So anywhere from like 100 kids or below. So it's very manageable.
Great. Thank you so much for providing that context. And just one final question. I think this would be for probably both Megan and Lucretia, but I know you guys both did 3-day meal packs for your summer school students, and that was a topic that we have heard. It was a hot topic for a lot of sponsors wanting to learn how to do this. I was just wondering if either one of you would like to expound a little bit more on how you managed that process of distributing those 3-day meal packs to your summer school kids.
For me, it's a little different because we make our own, and they have a roster for the kids that are there, and so they mark them off just like they would do anything else. I would recommend, like I said, people that can't necessarily make their own, do a RFP and get those meal boxes from a third party if you can. But it takes time to make sure you have all the components. It takes time to get it to the site, depending how many summer school sites you have. So logistics, takes, I don't think people consider logistics.
Oh, looks like your internet lagged a little bit, Lucretia. Looks like we lost you for a second. We'll wait for your internet to come back up.
But I can go ahead until she comes back.
Okay.
She was saying how it's a logistical thing for them because I think she said they have like a central warehouse. We actually operate out of all of our summer school sites. Most of them are also our non-congregate feeding sites as well. So I already have staff there. So that's why I made the menu the same with the 7-day bulk meals as the 3-day pack. So they're very similar. So we're using the same products. It's just on a smaller scale. And like she mentioned with the roster, checking the kids off, sending it home with them on Thursdays for the weekend. So, sorry, Lucretia, did you want to finish?
No, I think you got it. I told you when I do the camera, I told you eventually it was going to happen. It always does.
That's quite all right. We actually made it all the way through almost the whole call without it freezing once. So we're grateful to have you still with us. Can we go to the next slide, please, Taylor? So I want to just move now to a few quick resource announcements. I want to make sure that everybody here has the opportunity to stay in the know on all things related to summer meals. You can use the QR code here. I'll also put the link in the chat where you can get subscribed to No Kid Hungry's Summertime Snack newsletter. Each month, it's a short monthly newsletter. It's seasonal, so it's only during the summer planning season, and you can get quick links to resources that come out from our Center for Best Practices, webinars, and more that can help enhance your summer meals program. Next slide. Also, we don't want you to miss our next webinar, which the registration is now open, and it's all on the topic of designing participant-centered non-congregate summer meal programs. You definitely don't want to miss this one. We're going to be showing some case studies from some districts and some experts who have put together some really interesting ways for you to consult your community members in the design of your program and get some really important feedback and utilize that feedback and surveys from your community members to design a program that really serves their needs. Next slide. Okay. Also be sure to visit our Center for Best Practices to access all of our webinar recordings, resources, and more. A couple of resources that are really helpful at this time is our Summer Food Service Overview. We also have a really great resource on successful non-congregate meal service models for rural areas. It's an implementation guide, so if you're new non-congregate service and want to know how it all works and what your options are, that's a fantastic resource for you. We also have links to USDA resources as well. Next slide. At the close of this webinar, you're going to see a very brief survey where you can let us know how we're doing with our webinars. Please take a brief moment to fill it out as it helps us. We personally go through and read every single response and take your feedback to heart. So please take a moment and answer that as the webinar concludes. Next slide. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending this hour with us to kick off our summer webinar series. And a huge thank you to our wonderful panelists who joined us today. We hope you enjoyed the webinar and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great afternoon, everyone.